Signing up. TFNN.com. Educating investors.
The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray, feeling good, Lewis. We're going to take a look at the crude oil market today, folks. We were focusing on this. You'll notice that as you look at the chart, we've made a double bottom down in this area. I sent a video out earlier today saying to watch this very, very closely because it could be a double bottom. Now, it stayed there for well over an hour. But let me just share with you what we were looking at because, you know, when you're looking at the daily, you don't always get a really clear picture. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to bring up the chart of the crude oil. And as you can see, this is a 15-minute chart. And from that level, you can see we've made an ABCD to the downside. And that is, in fact, a very important thing. But what's really important is that if you look at the values of the ABCD move, the D move came down to 75.31. And the low so far has been 75.19, only less than $300. And then you can see it has this tremendous move up and then the pullback. Now, when we go higher than that, should we get higher than $80, that basically will concrete that this low is actually a very, very important low. It could also fail and the market would go down even more. But what you have to do is to play with the cards you're being dealt. And the cards here say this may be a good turning point in the crude oil. So what you're doing is you want to be watching patterns that might come to fruition from the time that we made this low, which was about 2 hours ago. And then let's see what's happened for that. And then if you see a really nice ABCD or a 61% retracement, that gives you an entry point that is certainly spot on that you can't actually, you just can't get over it, how good it is. Let's just, since we're on here for kicks and giggles, let's just do it, and we'll take a look at it right now to see what we're looking at here. We're going to go down to a 15-minute, and then we're going to blow it up so we can see it pretty nicely. And we got all the way up. We're almost at $80 a barrel, $3 a barrel higher. But what we want to be doing now is from the low to the high. I'll draw this in so you can see it. That the 382 comes in. Ring the bell, please. It's 78.32. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to share this with you and show you the strategy that we would like to use entering the crude oil. Now, we were expecting the ABCD pattern to occur, and in fact, it did that perfectly. But what we want to do now is to see if this pattern will come back and give us a very, very low-risk entry point. And by low-risk entry point, we mean that it's going to go to the 382 retracement of that last high. And you can see this big move here, folks. That's almost a $5,000 move. We'd like to buy it on the 382 pullback. Right now, that's another dollar or so, almost $2 lower. So you got to be patient. And you want to be watching for a potential ABCD at that point. In other words, after this high is made right in here, you can see that. Then watch for the ABCD to come in here, hopefully exactly at 382. Then you have a perfect scenario for risk control. You don't know what's going to happen next. You know, the Arabs could come out and say, oh, we found 20 billion barrels of oil underneath the sand or something crazy. And then the market could easily go one way or another, or they could stop producing. Who knows? You know, they play games like this all the time. So remember, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you don't lose. That's the whole key. Now, we will be covering the stock market, but before we get that, by the way, our guest today will be Norm Winsky. Always a pleasure to talk to Norman because he's got some great values as far as turning points, and his little quiver has got a lot of good arrows in it. So want to be watching that, very, very closely. But before we get to that, I wanted to show you what is happening in the Treasury note market because And all I have to do is to get it over there, and then we should be okay. Hold on a second, and I just get it right up here. Okay, here is the Treasury note. Those of you that like the 382 pattern, you'll see here. Let's get this up here. Uh-oh, what happened to the screen? It says share the screen, and it's not sharing. There we go. Okay, now I posted the chart of the Treasury notes. Now, this is the largest of all the commodities we trade, the largest open interest. You'll notice here on the way down the 382 retracements. Now, we hit to the exact tick a 382 retracement on Friday. Friday's action took it up to 127 and change, right on the money of that 382 retracement. And since that time, the market has been drifting lower, even though there's no more threat. Well, there is a threat because we don't know where the unconvicted culprit is up there in Idaho, and wherever he is now, I don't know. But that's what you have to worry about, is the one or two people that are out there that wear uniforms, Halloween-style uniforms. In the Bank of America, they still have the guy there, dressed like a, he's dressed like a bank robber. And yet he still sits there all during the holidays giving out candy to the kids, but still dressed as a bandit. So when a bandit comes in with his mask on, that's it. I don't know if you folks know this or not, but there are more bank robberies on the day of the Halloween, whichever Halloween forms on. There are more bankruptcies that day than all of the other days in the year combined. That's how important it is to robbers, is to put their skills at use when there's a no wearing masks or something, whatever they're doing with Halloween. They can get away with just about everything. So that's the main thing that we're looking at here this morning. Now, we've got another minute and a half, and I wanted to share with you the price of the bonds, because the bonds, they do not look the same as let's get this up here, as there it is right here. You'll see here that it's far, far away from the 382 retracement. In other words, the bonds have been bitten a lot harder on the proverbial keister. So this thing looks like we still got some to go here. You can see the 382 on this one is very, very far away, way over a point, and yet the Treasury notes, the popular of all of them, went up and made a 382 on the weekly chart. So that's telling you that they don't want bonds that much, and they're not really sure about the credit value of the Treasury notes. But by golly, somebody's going to be paying the price here pretty soon, because one of those two gentlemen is wrong. It's just the fact that, it's either undervalued because people don't believe in it, or they're taking too much of a safety precaution. In other words, they're giving up a big yield to coming in at, a whole much lower price. So those are things that you have to think about when you're trading these markets, because those are the news items that make it go. This morning, they rallied 100 points in the Dow Jones and immediately dropped back down again. Well, that's a sign of a market that is very tired. Let's take a little break. 877-927-6648.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors. Educating investors Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Folks, and the volatility of the market's still increasing. Since we were gone, just this last few minutes, we've had a 100-point range in the Dow Jones has moved 100 points. We went from 33,700 to 33,800 in a matter of 15 minutes. So since we started the show, you can see how quickly these markets have moved around. Now, I do want to share with you a couple of things that I think were relatively important. If we could get back to that crude oil chart, and I think you'll see it quite easily on this smaller time frame, 15-minute. You'll be able to see the importance of that 382 retracement, especially in downtrending markets or uptrending. But you can see here, we make the first 382 retracement. That's at this box right here. We make the second 382 retracement, and that sets up an A, B, C, D to the downside that comes in around 74.10, I believe was the number. And we had an order setting at 74.23. I was not able to get it out fast enough because the move down was so quick. But I said if we got much above 78.20, we're most probably looking at a pretty good reversal. And that's pretty much it. There is no chart you're seeing. Shut the front door and raise the rent. Let's see if we can get it up here. There we go, boys and girls. I think that might do it. Okay, now you can see the ABCD pattern clearly, so that's a good sign. But unfortunately, I was not able to get the chart up as possible. I'm still struggling with the new way of sending the videos out, but I know it's getting better. The problem is I can't get it to the exact second because it takes about 20 seconds to walk from one room to another. So until that's changed, you'll have to get them just a few minutes or a few seconds a little bit later. As you can see from this, we've had a really strong rally here. This was as of 10 minutes ago, and now we're challenging these highs already back in here, folks. So this is a pretty important chart today in silver and in gold, and also the gold market, especially the gold market and treasury bills and treasury bonds. They're relentless going after their markets. The price of their vehicles, the body of the cars is actually dropping quite a bit, but the new buyers coming in are gobbling it up, and they're making it very popular again. I don't know if you know this, folks, but there are more cars are built in Arizona then there are people living here. I always found that hard to believe until you went in to try to buy a car, and then you notice that, oh my goodness, these things are just absolutely incredible. Now, we did get some feedback from the newsletter about how we came up with the pictures, saying that there was most probably going to be, a sell-off in the market. And what I'm going to try to do is to get these up here and post it so you'll be able to see it. The fact that the market went right down to the 382 retracement and bounced back. And what we're watching for is to see if that will hold. That number down there is at 39.48, I believe. And when we rallied up to well over 40 and I guess into the 41 range. But that means we're just having really, really big volatility. And that's all you can ask for. And speaking of volatility, that leads us to one of the charts that we want to talk about today. And that is the Fear and Greed Index. I'm going to bring it into the room so everybody can see it. Hold on one second. And I think that'll do it. There's where we are. You can see here, we're at the Fear and Greed Index, we're way down here. The problem is, folks, is that there's not many people participating as there usually are. We're seeing big drops in open interest in the last couple of days in the crude oil market. I mean, one guy wanted to buy the car from my next door neighbor for $4,000 more than it was worth. And he said, well, what would I sell it? What am I going to do with the money? And the guy said, well, you can play blackjack. And the guy said, I don't have to have that to play blackjack. I can do that on my own. So he made up his decision to keep the car, which is probably a good idea. You can see here these peaks of, that's fear and greed that you have here. That's your greed index. More and more people coming in. In fact, one of the brokers today, I heard him talking to the customer, and the customer said they wanted to get back in the market to take advantage of these really low interest rates that we're seeing now in corporate bonds, the AAA bonds, because that rate has gone from 90% down to about 5%. So they're hungry, and they'll give you better values for this. So I hope you take that into correction, because now you've got one of the big things in the market is ready to push you over to the downside, and so you want to pay attention to that. That's the crude oil market, folks, because it's a big one. It sure is. Okay, now we've gotten quite a bit higher. We've rallied $5 a barrel in the oil. If we take out last week's high, which wouldn't be hard to do, which would be another $3 higher, that would be highly indicative that the price of oil and gas are going to go a lot. So if you've got your ticket punched, make sure it's punched on the right day so that you're sure to get into the hospital with care, because these hospitals here in Arizona, being close to the border like they are, they don't fool around. There's no tents or anything like that. If they don't have the bed, they put you on the waiting list. Whether that's going to last for a long time, I don't really know. The other thing I wanted to share with you, the long-term view here on the NASDAQ. This comes from Kimball Charting Service. And I want to get there. We go. Okay, you'll be able to see here that we're sitting right at that downtrend line, folks. And remember, Friday was a 382 retracement right to the money, and that's what it did. We had a perfect 382 in the NASDAQ, perfect 382 in the 61% Fibonacci ratios, and in the honey bear section, that person had 4 kings with a ace. And that was worth $27,000, which was a nice pre-Thanksgiving present. So we'll see whether it holds up or not. Excuse the raspiness in my voice, folks. There's a sunny, warm day here with a little bit of rain this morning, and that accentuates the value of these instruments, and people like to put them on their wallpaper and on their desk and places like that. So they're very, very heavily in demand. But I had an extra pair, at least I thought I did, so now I'm down to 1. So I've got to be, super, super careful as we look at some of these markets here today. Now let's take a look at the 10-year Treasury note on the weekly chart, and you're going to be able to see here that we did miss that so far, and that we could easily do it, another time, but where is it? Shut the front door and raise the rent. Did I lose it again? I hope not. Nope, here it is. Let's get it up here so we can see it. Wow, it's been pretty darn bad to the downside in the euro, but that's good. Okay, here's the euro, and I'm going to put in the ABCD here because we do have one that is forming that may be telling us that its new low is not surprised. There it is, the 102 level. So you got to be really careful, folks. If this thing makes a new high here, I would get that. I would get out of the way. That would be at 126.30, and I'd say I think I'd stand aside. Okay, we'll take a little break. 877-927-6648. Paula Webb Douglas coming on, folks. We'll be right back.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks. We're talking with Norm Winsky of Astro Trends, Naples, Florida. Norm, how are you doing today?
You.
Everything's good. Why don't you go ahead and tell the folks what you're looking at for today, Norm?
All right, I'm going to start off in my usual format. Let's review what I said the last time. I was last on your show on Monday, November 7th, and I had the follow. I hope everybody can see my notes. And AC is after the close. The 4th was a Friday, so that's over the weekend into Monday. And so we had 2 points, 2 cycles to the U.S. natal chart. So anytime we have that, we look at U.S. stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. There's the first one. There's the second one, both for the 4th weekend into Monday. Then Monday night, the 7th, after the close, we had heliocentric. That's from the point of view of the sun. Mars changing signs went into Gemini. That's there's no liquid commodities for that, so we just look at the stock market. And then also that night, the 7th, Monday night, we had a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus the Bull. And so anytime we have a full moon, new moon, we have a look at financials, grains, precious metals, and because it was in Taurus the Bull, we'll be looking at cattle and cotton. And then the night of the 8th, we had one of my other top points is Mercury hit 0 south latitude for the grains. Mercury is the grains. And by the way, the stocks tend to respond to all these points, whereas commodities tend to be narrow filters and only respond to a few, planets or signs. So here we go. Here's the chart. Here's corn. On the moon point was a day or so too early. So that was a miss. That's a red arrow. We're looking for the market to be going to ideally some extreme and then turning within a day of our window. And we allow one trading day. So here, the red arrow, we were too early. The low is on the 10th, and we trade on the next day's opening. So we had the moon overnight on the 7th, and the corn just kept dropping. But the next day, if you bought, it did drop the next day, but that was the low of the month. So that's a valid signal there, and it didn't drop a whole lot, so that's okay. So then you actually had a chance to make some money if you held on a few days there. So there we go. So we went 50-50 on the corn. Beans were going kind of choppy sideways here at that topping formation, so we did nothing there for the moon. Then it dropped into our Mercury point there, and that was a little short-term low there, and then it popped up. You had a chance to make a little bit of a small profit there. Wheat was going sideways for the moon, and then dropped into the Mercury point. You would have been buying on the opening of the 9th, and the next day was the low, and then you popped up and had a chance to make a small profit on that. Here's maybe one of the better ones I had for this period. The lunar eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse, was in the sign of Taurus the Bull. And look what happened here. The cattle rallied, stampeded into a high right. The moon was overnight of the night of the 7th. The next morning, had you sold there, you would have been pretty happy the next day or so, because you had a nice drop there. I think almost about 2 handles for about $800. So that worked out pretty well. The cotton here, because the cotton's been moving so much and it's such a big ticket, that doesn't look like very much money, but it is. Mm-hmm. So we rallied up into the moon in Taurus. So the cotton is a astrological cousin to cattle, and so it's tied in with Taurus the Bull, and I guess it's a Texas thing, huh? And so it rallied there, and you made a high there, and then you had a drop of about 3 or 4 handles. Every handle on the cotton is worth $500. So that was a pretty good chunk of change there, All right, now the silver just kept going right past the moon, and so that was a miss. Here the gold was just going sideways into the moon, so we do nothing there. Here's your S&P 500. We had 5 points for the potentially 5 points for the S&P, and everyone was a valid potential winner. If you sold there, you were just a day early. It went a little bit against you the next day, and then down. So anyway, so there we go. So one down there, and so they had 5 points there. And then here's the T-bonds. The first point was a day early on the moon. Oh, no, that was the U.S. point there, U.S. point. It went down, but then over here, you were good to go on the moon. And then that was a very nice turn. Then that was a retest of the October low there, very close to that October low. And the U.S. dollar did pretty much the same thing. That was our point was over here on the night of the 4th for both of those, and into the 7th. And so you were like kind of a day early because the low came later. Here we had a little short-term low here, and then a pop-up. And those actually, I might have done those wrong. We actually might have been valid buys there. So anyway, we got the Aussie dollar made a little short-term high there, and the British pound made a little short-term high there on the moon. Those are all lunar points here, all lunar eclipse points. There's the Canadian dollar, but had a little short-term high there, and the euro did the same, and the Japanese yen was just going sideways. So we got 16 winners with 6 misses out of 22 for 72.73%. And here's what's coming up. Now, over this past weekend, we're on a Monday now, the 21st, and over the weekend into today, we had, there's a U.S. point there, so we'll be watching the stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. The problem for the S&P on Friday, after about 2-3 days of a shallow pullback, the market popped up into Friday's close, and we don't like that. We like when the market gets to an extreme, and you got a nice streak, 3, 4, 5 days in one direction, and the market's closing at the extreme. So when it goes back the other way, that takes a lot of wind out of the sails. It's like releasing the tension on the spring to go the other way. So was told my clients over the weekend that this was not a good setup. Not telling them not to do it, but it's Newton's law, for every action, opposite equal reaction, and we don't have a really good setup here, so I can't really say that we're going to have a nice low or high here. It's not real clear. It did pop up on Friday, so we were down. We apparently made a little bit of a short-term high there on Friday's close, because now we're down a little bit. But it's unfortunately, we had a 3-way cluster here over the 18th. These are all pretty top-notch points usually, but the market is half the ticket, so half the deal. All right, now coming up Wednesday night, we got Thursday we're closed. Wednesday night we have a new moon in the sign of Sagittarius, and that'll be a change in trend for financials, grains, precious metals. We'll get rid of oats. We don't care about only 2 horses in Wyoming trade the oats. You always get rid of that. What's that again?
I think there's only about 2 that eat oats up there. They eat caviar up there in Wyoming.
Okay. And then we have a point to the U.S. chart, and we got like a 3-way cluster here for Wednesday night over the Thanksgiving holiday. And then we got the music coming out, Larry?
Yeah, music is on. We got to pay a few bills. We'll be right back with Norm Winsky, Astro Trends.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Okay, we're back, folks, speaking with Norm Winski of Astro Trends. Norm, you want to continue? But we have a question before you start, my friend.
Okay.
Okay, is there any truth? I mean, I've looked at these dates on the day after Thanksgiving as being a very high percentage uptrend. Have you found that in your studies?
Anecdotally, I think that's true. You know, I used to read that stuff way back in the 80s here. I used to get... You probably remember what was a Yale Hirsch's stock market almanac there, and had all the percentages for the holidays and that sort of thing. And I think his son has now got that. I haven't looked at that in a long time.
Okay, why don't you continue, Norm, and we'll go on, please.
All right. Well, anyway, you might be excited. You were just talking about oil, Larry, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
And guess what we got coming up? Oh, on the night Wednesday night, we have Jupiter in Pisces. That's oil. Turning direct, and that's oil. And then the only other thing of that level would be, the next thing would be over the weekend of the December 2nd, we have Neptune in Pisces. That's Neptune rules Pisces, so that's a double whammy. And that's turning direct. That's also an indication for a change in trend in oil. So we got two big windows coming up for crude oil, Larry.
Do you have those each? Do they have equal weights on their dates, or does one have a stronger date than the other?
Well, I'd probably maybe put a stronger weight on the weekend of the 2nd, just because it's the ruler of Pisces, which is oil, is in Pisces. That's you know, it's hanging out there. Going to hang out there for a total of about 14 years. So, you know, it's going to be there for a little while, you know. And, you know, it's 100, you know, Neptune's 167 year cycle. Yeah. And so there we go.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's, you know, I'm probably going to get myself in trouble, but I think Neptune, since Neptune is in Pisces, we've been having a lot of ambiguity in our culture, if you know what I'm talking about there. You know, a lot of people seem to have trouble defining things. You know, I won't get into the specifics because I'll get myself in trouble, but you can probably figure out what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All righty. So that's pretty much it. I just went back and looked at my bonds and dollar there. I think that I was too mean to myself. I think these points here were actually, if that was a low, then those have to be okay because they're within one trading day of that low, and same thing on the bonds. But anyway, so I probably got a better score than what I showed you. So here's the deal on me. I've been doing this a long time. I actually started doing actual money investing in the early 70s while I was at Indiana State University there in Terre Haute, your hometown, Larry.
Yes, sir.
And I was actually, my first stock was Anaconda Copper, because I grew up in the scrap metal business with my family. Family goes back several generations in that business. And I heard all that, my father talking all about copper prices, and that's what I knew. So anyway, you can, and then I used my profit that I made from that to buy a membership on the Chicago Board Options Exchange, in 1975, and right out of school, I was a week out of school there at Indiana State. I moved to Chicago, and I was on the floor there a week later as a member market maker at age 24. So anyway, I've been doing this a long time, and I will help the folks for free a little bit anyway. If they call me up, they want to know anything about these technical terms or have any questions, I'll be happy to talk to them. And you can contact me here in beautiful Naples, Florida at 2395943939. There's my email, Nwinski, Nwinski, at embark.mail.com. Or you can call me for free at NWINSKI_1. Looking forward to helping your folks and everybody, all our American friends, have a happy Thanksgiving, or if you celebrate anywhere else, have a great holiday.
Hold on, Norm. I've got a personal question.
Okay.
I've been to Naples, and that's the Beverly Hills of Florida, as near as I can tell. And do you have many homeless down there?
I'm not aware of that. I don't know.
Okay, I was just curious. That's not a problem. Hey, thanks for joining us.
You mean because Beverly Hills has so many homeless, huh?
No. It's just such a nice place, and I was just curious in some of these lovelier settings, that they have a tendency to go where the weather is nice and the people have money. But
I'm sure there are some homeless here, but
I understand.
I've heard, see postings. I'm in some Naples groups, and they talk about what's going on here, and they talk about, I saw a homeless person the other day, but it's not like Beverly Hills, so it's not rampant here,
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. That's one of my favorite movies with Nick Nolte, Down and Out in Beverly Hills. God, I loved that movie. Had so many stars in it. It was just absolutely a fabulous movie. Hey, anyway, thanks for joining us, buddy. I really appreciate it. We'll have you on again soon.
Well, I really appreciate being on your show, and great to connect with you again, Larry, and have a happy holiday, and maybe you'll let me come back on in December, right?
Well, that's an absolute certainty, my friend.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, Norm. We'll get back to you as soon as you have a time. Just let us know. We'll be ready for you.
All right. Thanks a lot. Take care, everybody.
Bet. Okay. All right. I want to take a second here to go over one chart that is extremely important, folks. That's this Treasury note chart. This is the long-term weekly that we're looking at here. And what's important here is you see this. Coming down, all of these retracements have been 382. This last one we had last Friday was exactly 382 to the exact tick. Now that's a valid number, because we won't switch over to December notes and bonds for another 2 or 3 days. Well, just next week, and then we'll be looking at December bonds. But that's very important, because if we back off just a little bit and then get above that, then we can see a much, much stronger bond and note market, and interest rates would be going down short term. But long term, folks, we have reached an area where Treasury interest rates are going to be going up substantially here over these next few years, probably into 2024, 2025. Another thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is a young man, I believe from up north in Idaho, I'm not sure, but he brought that chart up of Magnus, and I wanted to bring it to your attention here to show you that the fact that the ABCD was there. And where did I put that chart? And here it is. Nope, that's not it. Where does it disappear to, Larry? Come on now. Well, I don't have it anymore, so I'm not going to worry about it, but it's still right there at that same level at $6.50. That's where it had a high of $7.20. So it's gone sideways after making a big ABCD, and that is not a bearish phenomenon, folks. Usually when you hit point D, you see these markets, really breaking down quite a bit. And guess what? Little Johnny in the back of the room said, hit the wrong button, and there it is. And there's the chart, and you'll be able to see it. The market only was able to make a 382 retracement here. That was on Friday. It's holding up relatively well. If I were in that stock, I would have my stop right below the 382. If we go 10 cents under that, I'd say goodbye, and thank you for the ABCD, and that's what I've been looking for. Take a break, 877-927-6648.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Okay, folks, I had several emails about why I thought the market was going to be down Sunday or Monday. Into probably Tuesday or Wednesday, because of the fact that the price action that we see here on the E-mini S&P, we hit the 382 retracement, folks, from the January 4th high. You can see that retracement there, I marked it as 382. You notice these dark lines here. Those are equal moves, folks. This level, this move here, and this move here was equal. This move was 1.27 of those other moves. So these relationships are all lining up. Now here's where the homework comes in. Go to look at your Dow Jones Industrial Average and compare what happened with the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And what you'll see, the Dow Jones Industrial Average being very strong, went all the way up to the 61% retracement. And then you say, okay, well then what did the NASDAQ do? Then you go and look at the NASDAQ and see what the NASDAQ did. And that's what I do each week in the letter, is to look at those to see whether there's some relationships there that tells us that, yeah, we got a chance that maybe this is something that is really important. As you look at the NASDAQ, I'll just bring this up here so that you can see it. Now remember, what you're looking at here is not the January high. This is the August high. So that's why that's so very, very important up in here. So let's keep that in mind. It's a very, very important thing to remember, because we had that beautiful ABCD here. You can see it lined up perfectly, And not only that, but it topped on Tuesday, not Friday like the other ones. So it's interesting here that we've got a bifurcation in the market, as my good friend and superior technician Basil Chapman always refers to, when you see two different things happening to two different markets. Remember, folks, you always want to sell the weakest and buy the strongest. That's what you're supposed to do. Just the opposite of what people try to do. Hey, see you on the flip side tomorrow, folks. May God bless.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most